Jon-Christopher is the White House correspondent for Real Political News and joins us on the line now. Hello, John.
Hello, Nick. How are you, my good man?
I am very, very well, thank you. Long time no speak. It's been quite a week. A full and frank, unredacted release of all of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Nothing more to see. Move along, please.
Yeah, except that's not true. There's lots of blank spaces there, and lots of pictures of Trump taken off, put back on, taken off. You know, since we last spoke, there's so much has been happening here. And, for example, we had those school shootings at MIT and Brown. We had Rob Reiner's tragic murder by his son and his wife. And Donald Trump is avoiding any kind of controversy by getting out his brand and talking about how he's going to save the world. And he's the only one who can keep us from ourselves.
His performances are getting a bit labored, aren't they?
Yes, they are indeed. They're getting labored, and they're getting, frankly, as an American and as someone who is involved in politics in Washington, it's a bit frightening to watch the way he's out there, and the people behind him, his MAGA followers, they're really not cheering him on. He doesn't look like Churchill or JFK. We'll get to that in a minute. But they are saying, what is he talking about? He's talking about folding his wife's negligee in a drawer, and kind of lurid things that we shouldn't be hearing. But he knows plenty about luricity. Let's put it that way.
Yes. Now, the release of the files themselves, if it was intended to pique the public's interest in them, then they've done an excellent job. One of the files was 191 pages of complete black ink. I'm surprised they didn't run out of it.
Well, this is going on with the Justice Department, and the Congress is not pushing the Justice Department strong enough. They're not holding up to them. They're not saying enough is enough. Let's go. Or we'll send the U.S. Marshals down there, and we'll show you a thing or two. But they don't have the whatever it takes to do that. And we've gone through an agonizing weekend. And they're young girls. Now they're in the mid-30s. And these young ladies who were children and brought to that island, which I've seen from the Virgin Islands, far away, as my wife and I used to sail by there. I always wondered, what the heck is going on at this place? Well, now we know what was going on at this place. And young girls were taken down to this island and abused and raped and lives ruined. And there's that issue. And then, we could talk, you and I could talk all night. But the thing, we have him changing the name of the
Kennedy Memorial Center,
Yeah, but before he did that, he destroyed the Grand Ballroom, and I'm at the White House most days. He destroyed the Grand Ballroom. He's going to build the Trump Triumphal Arch, and he's like the Arc of Triomphe, the Arc of Trump, not even Triumph, the Arc of Trump, and this is by Arlington National Cemetery, no less, and he's renamed the Peace Institute for himself. And what he's done, the most unthinkable thing that he's done, and I'm a guy who's been around, who's met John F. Kennedy, and was a young lad working on his campaign as a volunteer. He changed the name of the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, and he slapped his name on it, the Donald J. Trump and John F. Kennedy Center. Now Kennedy's daughter, Robert Kennedy's daughter, says she's going to go there with a hammer and a crowbar and pull Trump's name off there. That's right. What's going on in Washington, Nick. You should come over. It's a lot of fun.
No thanks. I've said too many uncomplimentary things about him on social media, so I'm going to swerve that country for a good long while.
He brought it on himself, mate.
Now, as a way to distract us from all of the above, well, the Kennedy thing, I think, was part of the distraction, his distraction technique, is starting a war with Venezuela. What on earth is that about?
Well, this is about, if he thinks he can do it, he'll try it. Anything is a distraction. He thinks that, since Venezuela nationalized their oil industry back in the 70s, He figures it's our oil. So now he's got the latest is that a diplomatic gentleman, foreign ambassador or whatever from Iran has contacted his counterpart in Venezuela, and he's saying if you want ships to run sideline with you to stop the Americans from we can accuse the Americans of privateering, and we'll stop it. So now we're going to have Iran against the U.S. and Venezuela, and this is a president who didn't want to get into any foreign
wars.
Yes, exactly.
What's odd is that Russia and China are allies of Venezuela, and there's been nothing from either of them.
Well, Putin knows how to be quiet, and I think Xi knows how to be quiet. They'll let Trump just twist himself slowly in the wind, and I think that's what's going to happen. And he's having a lot of problems, and he's getting very desperate. And to tell you the truth, I'm not a big fan of him. I've known him for 60 years. He hasn't changed. His entire thing is about branding. If he puts his name on something, he figures people will fall in line. Now, he put his name on so many buildings in New York, and they all told him to take his damn name off these buildings. He doesn't own anything. He hasn't built anything. He and his father destroyed Coney Island and built some slums, and now he's been bankrupt 6 times and everything else. But it's time for the Congress to do it, and it's time for the American voter to stand up. And I think I'm afraid that our allies, our dear allies like Great Britain and France and Italy and Germany, are going to be very upset with us and not trust us. It's all about trust, Nick. It's about trust.
Yeah, I think that ship has sailed. I don't think that the security services in Europe actually trust that any information they give to America will stay there. So.
I wish I could change it around.
Yeah, unfortunately not. No. And the reason why Trump says that he's going into Venezuela is, apart from the oil, and of course Venezuela has the largest oil reserves in the world. And the oil that they have is of a type that the U.S. refineries need. But he says that the reason that is putatively because Venezuela is trafficking drugs to the U.S. But they absolutely are not. The cocaine that may come out of Venezuela is going in this direction towards us here in Europe.
Exactly. It's going to Guyana, I believe, and then over to Great Britain, up the Atlantic coast. But the fact is, I think that's right. The fact is that he is trying to persuade the Americans that this is dangerous. They are terrorists sending cocaine, and they're killing every boatload of cocaine kills 50 million Americans. I mean, he's way off on his calculations. And then they went and blew up these boats with poor guys on them.
Yes.
Transporting the stuff. And they annihilated them, and there was no follow up. They didn't have a interdiction notice. They didn't inform Congress. They didn't inform. This guy Hegseth, who is now the Secretary of War. He changed the department, which you can't do, by the way. And I wish someone would tell him to get his American flag out of his pocket. It's not a pocket. It's not a pocket. Still,
yes.
It's not a pocket square.
No.
It's the American flag, and that's wrong.
Yeah. It's added to the giant mountain of wrong that is happening over there. John, I'm sadly out of time, but thanks so much for that. That's Jon-Christopher Bua, the White House correspondent for Real Political News.